guys, welcome back to another Red playthrough, and today I'm just making a short one because, well, Sun and Moon came out and that game is so much fun, but let me actually grind up. But I want to talk today about something a little bit different. I want to talk about urban legends. And as defined, urban legends are a popular myth that a culture will bring up and they'll continue to talk about and say is actually true. And a lot of times there's actually no proof that it is, but people will still claim it is. And it can range from anywhere being Bigfoot, or it could be something like the Yeti. And there's a few that I really do know a lot about because I've done some research on them, just because I found them interesting. And the first one I want to talk about is the concept of the killer clown. The fact that we have this mythos that clowns can be these evil creatures that go out and kill people, and we kind of make them this supernatural being. Well, where does that actually come from? Well, it can honestly be traced back to John Wayne Gacy, who was a killer clown from Chicago. Now, interesting fact about me, one of my third cousins is actually one of his last victims. So, my family does have a connection to John Wayne Gacy, and it comes from our subconscious. When we see clowns, a lot of times, if their makeup has a lot of points in it, we see them as evil, and it's no fault of our own. It's just we see them that way because we're hardwired to run from things that scare us, and that's something that will scare us. And he's not the only killer clown story that I can think of. Another one is from Long Island. It's known as Cropsey, the myth of Cropsey. You see, there's a asylum up in Long Island that is known as, give me 1 second to look it up. Cropsey. So there is actually a documentary on it that you can watch from Hulu, and it's actually a really good documentary too. It's called Cropsey. But it examines the New York's boogeyman, which is Cropsey, because you have a group of children who start to disappear. I'm trying to find the name of the asylum. Actually, the guy is a convicted murderer, the Cropsey murderer. His name is Andrew Rand. He was a psych patient at this hospital before it closed, and supposedly he will kidnap 3 or 4 children during the 80s who had low IQs and ends up killing them. And it first starts off in 1972 with a 5-year-old. 1981, there's a 7-year-old, 1983, an 11-year-old, and 1984 is his last victim. And the reason why this story is kind of unique is because it gives birth to the legend of Cropsey, who's this evil psych patient who left the hospital after everybody was kicked out, and he returns because it's the only place he knows. And therefore, when the kids start disappearing, they start to say, oh my god, Cropsey's here, Cropsey's killing our kids. And they used to tell the kids this story kind of to scare them away from the institution. They wanted them to feel that fear. They wanted to see, or to keep their kids safe by instilling like this undesirable fear of this asylum, because everybody would say, beware of Cropsey. Cropsey will get you. Cropsey's the psychotic patient who's out on the loose now in the woods by the asylum. And this is what gives birth to a lot of urban myths. We can have urban myths dealing with a lot of different subjects, such as, excuse me, I have something in my throat. One in Louisiana that I know about is the Rougarou. And the Rougarou is like a werewolf. It's the best way, easiest way for me to explain it. My god. It's like a werewolf, but this werewolf will attack anybody no matter what. They don't really care. They'll come into people's houses. And a lot of the native people, they describe the Rougarou as being like this creature that can quickly attack people and then disappear, and when it attacks you, you become a Rougarou yourself. Now, people have tried to hunt down the Rougarou to try and figure out what it is, but nobody really can because, well, we don't know what it is. We don't know what we're looking for. And a lot of the people who hunt in the swamps of Louisiana claim to see the Rougarou running through the swamps at different times during the year. And once that happens, you have this innate fear that will start to grow and grow and grow because nobody knows what this thing is. They don't know what it's capable of. They don't know if it's going to come in and kill them or their family. And because of this, you have a lot of fear built into the society, especially for those who live by these swamps. If I die here, I'm going to be so mad. Quick attack. Thank God. With this idea of like legends like this, we also have legends born out of Native American mythology, such as the Thunderbird. The Thunderbird is a myth from Native Americans who lived in California who claimed that during thunderstorms they'd see a giant bird flying overhead that brought thunder with it. And because of this, it became a legend that many Americans started to accept because we didn't know what they were talking about. A lot of times these things were unknown to us, and it kind of is really cool to examine the mythology and the urban myths that we have in America. Now, another one is ghosts themselves. I'm just listening to a book which is absolutely amazing, and since I can't move at this point in time, I will of course say Audible is an amazing source. It's called Ghostland. Colin Dicklin writes it, and he examines like why we have legends about ghosts, who these ghosts really are they true, are they not, what he honestly thinks, and he brings in a lot of good points, because if you're skeptical, somebody comes up to you and says, oh my gosh, I saw a ghost, what's your first reaction going to be? Like, you're gonna think they're nuts. And this book kind of examines the idea of what ghosts are. Like, are they a way that we try to create a concept to where of where we've been to where we are now? Is it a way for us to examine our own past? Is it a way for us to kind of question what actually happened in our society? I mean, it's a lot of questions that we don't have many answers to as a whole because we don't know what it is, and a lot of people don't believe in ghosts. But what happens if it turns out to be true? Like, if I lived in a house and I started hearing voices and there was no other explanation and things started moving in front of me, I'd be gone. I hate Arena Trap for this reason. But this is what's interesting to me about this concept is just the unknown. And what happens if it's proven? Like, I always joke that if I ever worked at a haunted high school, I'd be out of there in a millisecond. Dang it, I was hoping this was underground. And I've seen some videos on YouTube where it freaks me out. Like, it's just crazy. Like, there's one high school, I think it was in Tennessee, where the lights are randomly going off and everybody is like freaking out because nobody knows what the heck's going on, and students are gone, everybody's gone, nobody's there, lights are going on and off, and then you see this figure walk out, and the school's supposedly haunted, so I would have been gone. But when you think about like urban legends and stuff like this, you kind of have to start questioning what impact it has on our history. And with that, what impact will it have on how we tell history? So say you live in a country where the Yeti, for example, let's use the Yeti. So a lot of people will say in Nepal that Mount Everest is a sacred mountain and this is where the Yeti lives. Now, why do you think people do that? Well, they do it for several different reasons. One being the fact that they don't know how to explain certain events. You have to realize back in the ancient world, when they found skeletons of dinosaurs, they thought it was actually a cyclops. So it's kind of funny to see people say, oh yeah, we saw cyclopses, and it was simply a dinosaur, an elephant skeleton, because they had no idea what it was back then. They thought it was some mythological creature with one eye. And you really can't blame the people for that. even today you have tribes that live away from modern societies that still believe in it. I know in the Philippines there was this village who had a large amount of its male population die suddenly for no apparent reason, and they brought in a psychic, and the psychic said that this village was actually being attacked by a angry woman whose husband died, so she was killing the men of the village, and the only way to get her to stop was to hang red shirts outside of the village, or outside of the house. And because of this, they all started to do it because they were afraid that their loved one was the next one. Let's see, would this take me to where I want to go? Please? Oh, you flip. And because of this, it's their beliefs, it's their understanding of the world, and you can't judge people on their understanding. As much as strange as it sounds to us, to them, it's normal. It's something that they experience every single day. And it's a kind of a cool concept to when teaching, to teach the mythologies, because you never know what a student's going to say to you. If they're going to say, oh yeah, I have relatives who live in that country, and this is more of the story. So I'd love to, if anybody wants to share, if you have a local myth that you'd love to share, that'd be great. I mean, it's an interesting concept to me. I've always loved mythologies. I've always loved how they interact and work with each other, and I actually am working on a surprise video. I'm not going to say too much, but it is about mythology, and it'll be amazing when it comes out. But here's the thing. When it comes to urban legends, they have to be born somewhere and they have to be built somewhere. So with the fact that we have urban legends like Prophecy and Loch Ness, which honestly I'm still on the fence about with Loch Ness, because I can see the distinct possibility of where it could possibly be hiding, but I'm kind of curious to see why we haven't found it yet. And I mean, it wouldn't be the strangest thing we've found in a large body of water, because recently we found fish and animals that we thought were extinct, and apparently they're not. So it's not the weirdest thing we're gonna find in a deep body of water, but it is probably one of the more unique things. But I think that's where I'm going to end it off today, just because Pokemon Sun and Moon's out. I know a lot of people aren't going to be interested in this for right now, just because it just came out. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.